CCD, all right.
We're here from we're at the Big Apple Comic Con, and we're here with Captain Zorikh, who's doing history of Captain Marvel, one of
the many Captain Marvels.
Many versions that have
School
existed
'em.
throughout the years. The character's been around for a long time. What character is this?
Well, actually, why don't you swing it around here so we can show off this poster that happens to have autographs of it.
Yeah,
Just about everyone I could find who has done something about a Captain Marvel. And that leads to the trivia question. How many Captain Marvels can you name?
0.
Well, it was a trick question because they're all named Captain Marvel. You see, because my thesis is that the name Captain Marvel is the most important name to study in comic books with regards to Western popular culture and history because, unlike your Superman, Batman, Spider-Man, etc., each of these Captain Marvels, of the 12 from 4 different companies over the years, was created from scratch to serve the market of their day. So, just to talk about who is Captain Marvel, when and why, you have to talk about the origins of publishing, magazines, comic books, superheroes, motion pictures. You got to talk about trademarks and copyrights and civil rights and women's rights and gay rights and the space race, the hippie movement, the anti-communist witch hunts of the 1950s. It's all connected. So what I'm doing here, I'm making a book and a video project that explains all this. And these here are brief overviews, outlines of the histories of the many Captain Marvels, and I'm selling them to raise money for the project. The first edition covers from the dawn of time up to the third American Captain Marvel, the one from Marvel Comics, who was the alien from outer space in 1969. And the second one covers from him turning into a cosmic space hippie up to Shazam. But it also makes touch on the anti-communist witch hunts of the 1950s, how the Flash's costume was inspired by Captain Marvel, which is why so many people think this is the Flash. It touches on the English Marvel Man, who was a rip-off of Captain Marvel, who had to be called Miracle Man in America until he was acquired by Marvel Comics just this past year.
Bastards.
It's all connected. So
Does he count as one of the 12?
I gotta cover him.
But does he count as one of the 12?
No, he doesn't count as one of the 12, but it's part of the Captain Marvel connection. Because he was a rip-off of Captain Marvel.
Sure.
And so he wouldn't have existed without him.
Totally. So now you're doing these, and obviously you're traveling around, you're at some of the cons and everything like that.
That's right.
Volume. Do you have a website or anything?
CaptainMarvelCulture.com.
Captain Marvel.
This is in fact a free brochure that I give out that gets an overview of the project. So if you go to CaptainMarvelCulture.com, you'll be able to see an outline of the histories, including a delineation of the 12 Captain Marvels. Well, actually, I kind of break some of them up because was the power of Shazam Captain Marvel was essentially the same character as the original classic Captain Marvel, Billy Batson and all that, but he was different enough that I act that though I count them together in the 12, I count them as separate versions of the same character. They're worth independent study.
And now you talk about Captain Marvel throughout all the years. When's the first printing of Captain Marvel?
The first was Wiz Comics number 2, which is cover dated February 1940, so it probably came out in December of 39 because that's the way comics
So about 70 years
of many different Captain Marvels.
And do you also cover the different mediums? I know there's a cartoon, there's
That's
a
right.
lot of different movies.
The very first comic book superhero in any form of motion picture was Captain Marvel in The Adventures of Captain Marvel, the Republic serial starring John Tyler and Frank Lucas Jr.
Who knew?
Yeah, well, anybody who ever saw it.
I meant out of this group, meaning me. Yeah.
The nifty thing is that
You should know.
so many of the actors who back in those days, or back in the day, as they like to say colloquially, those actors were all contract players, so they wound up being in every movie. And so you find that it's fascinating all the different connections these different actors have. The most fascinating one I find is, get this, the actor who played old Shazam in that movie was a guy named who called himself Nigel de Boulier, who was in a version of a silent movie of Oscar Wilde's Salome, done in 1927, that was allegedly cast entirely of homosexuals in tribute to the author. And a segment of that, with Nigel de Boulier in it, was included in the documentary Before Stonewall, which is about the rise of the gay rights movement in America. And that is not the only connection to the gay community that Captain Marvel's have. So these are just bizarre.
So are you saying that Captain Marvel's the first gay superhero?
No. But Phyla-Vell, who was Marvel Comics 1, 2, 3, 4th or 5th, Marvel Comics 4th Captain Marvel was a lesbian, and she had a loving relationship with Moondragon, who actually turned into a dragon. So it was the first lesbian cross-species intergalactic relationship.
That's awesome.
You know? So I mean, it's like the connections here are just crazy.
And you've got a lot of other stuff going on here at the table. What else?
Right. Just to give you a brief overview. The Pensic War is the largest medieval recreation event of the year. It's an event of the Society for Creative Anachronism, and I produced this documentary of it. It's the only documentary of the event available to the general public. I am also a musician known as the Death Star Repairman. You might have spotted me in Sci-Fi Science or in Jedi Junkies. These are my CDs. I have also created comic books. I write them, I draw them, I take them down to the copy shop all by myself.
Nice.
These are drawn.
Guerrilla style.
These here are photographed, featuring women who were members of a team known as the Doom Maidens that I used to work with.
They look like fun girls.
Yes. I have even created trading cards of them, their friends, their foes, their enemies, and their adventures. We've got Kim Fuyu, Jenny Rancid, the Mercenary, the Gladiatrix, their Military Doom, the Gladiatrix against Rolling Thunder, their adversary, the Warlord.
Where are you from?
The Lord Gigundus. Oh, right here in New York City.
Oh, you're a New York guy. All right. Excellent.
Yep, and finally, oh yeah, and I made this movie with them called Combat Twister and the Further Battles of Kim Fuyu versus Jenny Rancid. And finally, I've gotten into submission grappling lately, and I made a movie which is, as far as I know, the first movie about submission grappling, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu out there. It's called Redemption. It's a Rocky Karate Kid kind of story about a guy who is in the low point of his life, where he's reduced to doing beatdown videos with women, who finally gets some training and winds up in a tournament between an underground fight club and a legit martial arts team, where he has to face that woman who kept on beating him in the videos.
It definitely sounds like an interesting film.
Some women on.
Yeah.
We do that every weekend. No.
Well, you can see highlights of the movie and rehearsal and production footage at the YouTube channel CZ Redemption, as in Captain Zorikh Redemption.
Excellent.
It's easy to remember. CZ Redemption on YouTube.
We're gonna definitely.
We're gonna put that up
on all the material that you're offering. We'll put some links up and do some nice stuff for you. And
Great.
thank you
Oh yeah, and tomorrow I'll be here with my pro wrestler, Simply the Best, G.A. West. He just had his return to the Squared Circle at Northeast Championship Wrestling last month. I'm his personal announcer.
Very cool. Very cool.
All right. Thank you, Captain.
Thank you.
Thank you, lady.
Marvel.
What's your name, anyway?
I'm Cody.
Oh, Cody. Nice to meet you, Cody. Sorry. All right. Thank you, guys.
Good weekend and enjoy every time. Thank you very much.